use the knock horn? Okay. Commander.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is wonderful to be back and see you all. And we begin our service on page 128, Hine Matov.
Sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad.
We turn to page 124 and we read together. We entered the sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls was it surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout a long history and our endless wandering, it has endured. A beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into the sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within the human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. We turn to page 120 as we light our Shabbat candles.
Asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav
For those who are able, we rise together for Kiddush 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei beri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho me'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'asei v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh seichel yitziat Mitzrayim kivanu bacharta beotanu kidashta mikol hamim b'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
The top of page 127. There are days we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand and wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act and care nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. We turn to page 130.
Lechun eranena latonai nariya litzur yisheinu Lechun eranena latonai nariya litzur yisheinu nekadma fanav b'toda izmirot nariya lo ki el gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim asher beyado mechkerei aretz v'toafot harim lo asher lo hayam behu asahu v'yabeshet yadav yatzaru ki hu Eloheinu banachnu amarito v'tzon yado L'chadodi on page 138. L'chadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela L'chadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor meriborecha tishmiyanu El hamiyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem ultiferet v'litila L'chandodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela נקבלה, לחם דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לחם דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לחם דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לחם דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לחם דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
We rise together to greet Shabbat HaMelech.
בואי ושלום עטרת מלאכה, בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, לחם דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לחם דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
The bottom of page 145. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, unripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. We continue with our Chetzi Kaddish 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש שם רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל. בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב, מימרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם עולם מעלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם, ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שם בית קודשה. ברכו לעילה מן כל מלאכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן מעלמה, מימרו אמן.
We rise together 146.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yada-da-da-da, yada-da-da-da, yada-da-da-da. Yada
We read together at the top of page 149. Praise you, Adonai, our God, for whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way in which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the time of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise you, Adonai, our God, for whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim, on the next page.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadta, otanu limadta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shokmeinu uvkumeinu nasiach mechukecha menismach medivrei toratecha ub'mitzvotecha leolam va'ed ki hem chayenu me'orech yameinu ubahem nehke yomam balayla nehke yomam balayla be'ahavatcha al tasim mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We read together at the top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together, our song of redemption and freedom, our Michal Mocha 158.
Bye bye bim bim bye, bye 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 bim bye, bye bye bim bim bye, bye 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 bim bye, bye 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 bye, bye bye bim bye, bye 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 bye, bye bye bim bye. Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bakodesh, noradi lo tosei pele, noradi lo tosei pele, al chutecha ra'u banecha, bokei hayam lipnei Moshe u'Miriam, zei anu ve'ameru, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed.
The top of page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will, our Hashivenu 160.
Hashivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Me'amideinu shomreinu, Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Me'amideinu shomreinu, Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Me'amideinu shomreinu,
The top of page 163. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. Vishamru 162.
Vishameru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat l'torotam berit olam beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam le'olam ki sheishet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz ubayom hashvi Shabbat ma'inafash.
For those who are able, we rise together for our Tefillah 166.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטל מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We move ahead, we read together the top of page 179. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. Make contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul. May the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praise you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. 178.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום, כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. נתום עיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה משלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
We take a few moments for private meditation.
יהיו רצון אמרי פי, יהיו רצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be acceptable before you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. Oseh shalom imromav, Yaseh shalom aleinu me'al kol Yisrael me'imeru, me'imeru. Amen.
This moment in our service, we take time to think of those in our community, those who are in need of healing of body or spirit. We especially think of Linda Applebaum, Margaret Bell, Chase Callahan, Harold Seitlin, Wes Chapman, Deborah Chargois, Arit Cohen, Karen Edwards, Edward Goldberg, Jeffrey Goldman, Sandra Goldman, Miriam Goldstein, Bob Hamrick, Fran Curry Harrington, Josie Hatfield, Emily Held, Evelyn Held, Donald Himmel, Ralph Holtzman, Corey Kessler, Zane Monlick, Malka Bat Rachel, Arvin Robinson, Susan Schumann, Leslie Simon, Liz Slive, Chrissy St. Charles, Don St. Charles, Brenda Weinstein, and Edgar Zimmerman. For those with us this evening, if you are thinking of a loved one, a friend, and you wish to share a name out loud, we invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours. For those names mentioned out loud and for those names that are still in our hearts, our prayer for healing, our Misham Berach, the middle of page 371.
Avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu source of strength, who blessed the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu, Mekor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
The three past parshiot, I call these parshiot Shalach, Korat, and Hukat, the parsha that really speaks to the human condition, the pains that we all experience. This is something that we can relate to. A few weeks ago, we read Parshat Shalach, and this is truly the uncertainty that leads to fear. This is when Moses orders the 12 spies to go out and to take a peek at the land, and the 10 spies return saying they are unable to reconquer the land, which caused fear among many of the Israelites that angered God. But I think many of us can speak to something in life that truly makes us afraid. That was Shalach. And last week we read from Parshat Korach, where someone believed in the idea that merit doesn't matter, where everyone is holy, and led a failure of a rebellion. But in this rebellion, Moses and Aaron, they too were upset that so many Israelites bought in and so many Israelites remained silent during this rebellion. I think there are times in our life, and we can think of instances where we wish that we got the promotion, but at the end of the day, we didn't have the merit. And here we are at Parshat Hukat. Again, this speaks to the danger, the uncertainty in the wilderness. And this is the fear that the Israelites had. They were afraid and even wanted to go back to Egypt, to live under slavery where they had at least some type of stability. And once again, Moses found himself frustrated. His anger got to him, and his behavior led to him being banned from entering into Eretz Yisrael. So there's three parshiot, Shalach, Korat, and Hukat. It's about the human condition. It's the natural anxiety that the Israelites faced and, of course, that we face in our lives. It's the stress that we experience. And if not the stress, perhaps it's the pain. And this has always been a part of not just history for the Jewish people, but every human in this world. I know that anxiety and stress and pain has been on our mind. A week ago, a horrible attack in the suburbs of Chicago and Highland Park. And I'm sure many of us in this Jewish community have some connection to Highland Park. But also in Chicago, maybe 20 to 30 miles south of Highland Park, 14 people were murdered in its south side, which often gets ignored. Last year, the south side of Chicago had roughly 800 murders. And also on this July 4th, there were shootings in Philadelphia, New York. And a week and a half ago, it really didn't make the news, there was a shooting attack in Denmark, a country we often try to emulate, but didn't expect a shooting to be there. We've seen the sharp rise of violence in many cities. And I know there's a lot of passion regarding recent Supreme Court rulings. I know a lot of us are resorting to punditry. I call this the reinforcement of belief. And it's hard to see the good right now in this world. I do believe that Judaism can speak to matters that we're facing as a collective society. I think it can help us, it can guide us. I know many of my colleagues spoke about the aforementioned issues the past 2 weeks, whether it was abortion, prayer in the public sphere, or gun control. I believe that the synagogue has to be the foundation of 3 things. It's God, it's Torah, and it's Israel. It's this sanctuary, it's all synagogues that should be removed from the punditry of life. Some rabbis call the Torah a political document. I do disagree. At its best, it's a vassal treaty between God and the people Israel. This place, for nearly over 150 years, it has to be free from the noise. This place is to pick you up during your most difficult hour. It's to comfort this congregation. It's to assist by word and deed. But I know so many of us are hurting of what we're seeing. And if I can, with humility, I want to paint a picture as to where we are as a country, offer a diagnosis, and attempt to offer some type of a prescription. But just some data points. Fewer Americans believe in God. There are more Americans that won't attend any religious institution, whether the synagogue, a church, or a mosque. We've seen the radical importance of the self. Community is not what it used to be. For the past 30 years, we've seen a mental health pandemic, sharp increases of depressive disorders and schizophrenia. Between 2013 and 2021, anxiety, stress, depression, college students, it surged over 135%. We are more stressed, we are more anxious, and I think part of it is the cell phone. Data teaches us that social media is leading to such aggression. We have a country that is broken, too much cable news. Again, we are addicted to our devices. Whether we're on 18th Street, Crestline Village, Mountain Brook Village, too many teens are glued to this and not having that face-to-face relationship. And here's the stat, but I think really speaks about where we are as a country. 88% of Americans believe that the United States is in the wrong direction. 88% of Americans believe that what we're doing isn't working. To get back to our parashah, in Parshat Shalach and in Parshat Hukat, when Moses heard the news of the 10 spies and when Moses found out the people wanted to go back to Egypt, Moses fell on his face. I think we too are falling on our face. Our rabbis teach us that when Moses fell on his face, this was perhaps a sign of humility. But it's our great medieval commentators that teach us Moses falling on his face was for him to way to prayer, to seek to God, to hopefully get the Israelites to have faith in something that we need to have. A sermon can't control social media. A sermon can't control how our teens use their cell phones. Sermons can't write laws, but the shul, the Torah, the music, our prayers, it's the joy of Judaism that can lead to some goodness that we need. These parashot speak to the uncertainty of the Israelites. But at the end of the day, Moses saw the good in the people. He found heroes like Joshua. And for us, we can never give up on seeing the good in people. The foundation of Torah, Israel, God as our base. When we return the Torah back to the Ark, our liturgy tells us to celebrate the old, renew our days of old. I think many of us can think of a life that is pre-social media, pre the smartphone, 2007. As I see physicians in this room, I think you can remember patients and what they're like before they were glued to such apparatuses. But maybe this is Judaism's way of saying, get back to the things that make us happy. Spending time with family, celebrating our faith, redefining community, family dinners, perhaps a good book club, or doing something special. I don't want this to believe that I seem Pollyannish about a prescription. But we know that family, faith, community, socializing is good for us. Perhaps this will ease in the mental health disorders that we see. July 4th is a day that we come united as a country. But last week, it was so painful for so many Americans to see. I want to end this drash to teach us that faith and prayer can always uplift a broken community. And after all, Judaism has been standing for over 5,000 years for this exact reason. The people of Highland Park are aching for years. The people of Southside Chicago, Philadelphia, recently New York, Denmark, Ukraine, perhaps we forgot about that. So we end this drash beseeching God's help. And I ask Hannah Winters to lead us in a prayer that brings her comfort in Psalm 23.
Adonai roi lo echsar binot sheyar bitzeini
We rise together, Alenu 586.
עלינו לשמח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
The top of page 597. Remember our people who suffered and died so that we could be free and secure. May their memory be more than a distant shadow. For their dreams left unfulfilled and lives taken too soon, we remember. Remember our brothers and sisters whose sacrifice kept the dream of democracy and justice alive. May their courage be our inspiration and strength. For life cut short and vision unrealized, we remember. Remember the fallen of our armed services, the victims of terror and tragedy. May the darkness of their loss not obscure the light of peace. They were in love with our land and in love with life. For the agony, the tears, the mothers and the fathers, for the children who were, and for the children yet to be, we remember. On this Shabbat, we recall our yortzites. Maud Schuster Block, Clara Grace Blutman, Solomon Max Berdowski, Bertha W. Bressler, Donald Chapman, Ellen Siegel Dorsky, Gladys Hanover Feldman, Herman Friedman, Harvey Gottlieb, Gloria Goldstein Houghton, Rose Kahn, Aileen Kaiser, Joshua Klein, Paula Leader, Ronald M. Leaf, Rachel Levinson, Nina R. Levitt, Philip Lewis, A.B. Loveman, Clara S. Loveman, John Majot, Allison Evans Mead, Joel Mendelson, B. Miller, Judy Overbach Newman, Eva B. Perlman, Essie Rosenberger, Leona Rothstein, Samuel Rudachevsky, Frank Sachs, Ruth R. Silverfield, Bertha Smolian, Dave Sokol, Jesse Solomon, Dorothy Steiner, Sherry Ubin, Hyman Erdong, Samuel Wasserman, Elaine Weiner, Abe Weinstein, Bernard Weinstein, and Gloria Zell. Our heartfelt condolences in the recent passings of Marissa Abelinsky, Jerry Lapidus, Howard Schultz, brother of Ricky Coslin, uncle of Mike Coslin. We rise together for our Mortars Kaddish 598. Yikadal v'ikadah shemei Rabbah, v'yomad divrach rotei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon, uv'chayet d'kol Beit Yisrael, Bagala uzman kari v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach v'olam alamei maya. Yiparach v'ish shabach hit ba'ard hit romam hit naseh. Vita dar vita lev vita lal shmei rekucha.
Barichu.
La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. Dalmin ra milma v'yamru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yamru.
Amen.
O say shalom bimromav, huya say shalom, aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yamru. Amen.
O say shalom bimromav, huya say shalom.
Our Shabbat service with Adon Olam.
625.
Does he have music? Jeff, do you have music? I don't have that. You don't have it. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Just give me some filler.